I'm Riley. I'm a renter in the Inner West, and I also work at the Tenants Union. So what's your name? What's your relationship to renting? And whereabouts do you live?
Thanks so much, Riley. I'm Jenny Leong. I'm the Greens member for Newtown. We're in the heart of Newtown right now, and I live just a couple of blocks that way from Campo Park.
Awesome. So have you ever rented with a pet?
I have rented with a pet, and I have a quite embarrassing and still slightly traumatic story about when I rented with a pet.
Please, can you tell me?
It was in Darlington, and I was still studying. I was doing my undergrad degree at Sydney University, and I was home studying that day, and we had a dog, and I heard a knock on the door, and then I peered out the window and realised that it was my landlord. She occasionally would come over unannounced, and I just freaked out because the dog was barking at the door, and I knew we weren't supposed to have the dog, but I knew that I couldn't possibly handle the idea of moving because I was almost at the end of the semester, and so I just hid in the stairwell and didn't answer the door and let the dog just keep barking until eventually she went away, even though it was very clear like I was in the house or someone was in the house, because I just was like, I am paralyzed by this, I don't even know what to do, and so I just hid on the staircase.
Well, that sounds,
it's not an ideal normal behaviour, but as anyone that's rented in Sydney would know, like, that's what you do, because you're like, it's my dog, I'm not supposed to have it, this is my home, what am I supposed to do? I can't afford to move right now, shit. And so I just hid in the stairwell.
And I feel like that's an experience that's like, it's fun, but it's also an experience so many renters have probably had. Like, have you heard stories from, I guess, other people in your community? Is this a kind of a common experience?
Yeah, and it's what's worse about it, and I mean, I say that in the sense that it was like, okay, I was in a situation where I knew that if I had to move, like, I had access to be able to say to some family members, can you help me out with a bond, all of those things. But for so many people, that's not an option, and so actually that becomes a real issue. The decision to then go, what do you do? Do you give up your pet? No. Do you give up your home? No. What do you do? There's so much challenge there. One of the biggest and most traumatic things that I think really hits me in my role is hearing the stories of where people choose to stay in unsafe situations because they know that they're not going to be able to get a rental property with a pet, and so they are living in situations where them and their family are at risk because they know that they won't be able to get a rental property with their cat or their dog.
Yeah, no, we've definitely heard stories like that from kind of all across the state. Like, it's such a multifaceted issue, pets and renting. So are there other barriers, I think, that you see around pets and renting?
Yeah, the big one is like ending no grounds evictions, right? The Greens are 100% committed to ending no grounds evictions. They are unfair, they're unjust, and they're a way to basically allow big investors to profit out of people's housing insecurity. So in a model where that happens, I think the key thing that you have to realise in that is that basically if we allow people to be kicked out for no reason, then landlords have all the power and tenants have none. So to me, it's like we absolutely should let people who rent have their pets, and that should be a given. But also we need to make sure that no one can be booted out for no reason, because then next thing you know, the landlord will make up some other reason or excuse as to why they want to kick you out, or don't even have to have a reason and will boot you out, and that's a huge problem.
Definitely. Massive problem. All right, so if you could say one thing right now to all the renters of New South Wales, what do you want to tell people?
The Greens have got your back, I've got your back, and we are so sick of dodgy landlords and real estate agents and people that are profiting out of your housing insecurity, and there's only one way to do that, and that's to make sure that we're standing up for renters' rights.
Thank you so much for your time, Jenny.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. I appreciate it. Thanks, folks.